Imagine if you put 1 kilo, 2 kilo, what is it weigh?
4 kilo.
4 kilo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wat voor maal is het?
So I've just turned 40. This could be my midlife crisis boat. So I have a wife, Claire, at home, and I have 2 kids. I have a 2.5-year-old called Lawrence and a 10-month-old called Arthur. I live in Sheffield, which is known for its miles of coastline. It's right in the middle of the country. It's about as far from the sea as you can get. And currently I don't have a job, but I did used to work in warehousing distribution until I quit to come here.
Cool. Yeah, it's always best to not have a job when you do sail races, eh?
That's for sure.
40, so you have parents maybe still?
Yes, yeah. My dad lives down in Bath, and his wife is down there. So yeah.
And are they happy that you do such adventurous things?
My dad's a big sailor. Like he's a really keen sailor. He's pushing into his late 70s now, so he's less active. So unfortunately, we've been on a sail on this boat, me and him together, but it's not really a place where you want to spend a huge amount of time if you're that age. So yeah, no, he's always been keen, and he's always pushed me towards these kind of things. So yeah, got him to blame. Put it that way.
Why the 580?
That's a good question. So mainly because of the initial cost estimates. It looked like you could build a competitive boat that was going to be one design for relatively small amount of money comparatively to any other ocean racing class, basically. The variety of events as well look varied. They look different, and there's some odd rules, but at the same time, I think I understand the reason why. So yeah, it's the attitude is good, and there's a really nice atmosphere with the builders as well. We have a WhatsApp group and a Facebook group, and it just seems like a little community as opposed to a bunch of different, very competitive teams working towards a common goal. So yeah, it's very different, I think, from all the other racing classes that you can do. Certainly ocean racing classes.
So money-wise, did it add up? Is it the cheapest ocean racing boat that you can build yourself?
I've not built many ocean racing boats, so I don't know. I feel to hit a one design kind of target, yeah, it's actually pretty good. It's
numbers.
Not as cheap as I thought it was going to be, I'll be honest. It's certainly not as cheap as my wife hoped it would be, but at the same time, it's not terrible. I mean, for running a campaign on anything else would be very, very expensive compared to this, I think. So yeah.
So most guys are roughly between 45 and 55k in euros. So how do you think that you do?
I feel like I've spent less. I've made most of it, so I've not had to buy the stainless steel work. I've not had to buy some of the jammers, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's because there's the flexibility to build all of it yourself if you want, apart from the keel welding. Then actually, I feel like I've tried to make the most of that and saved a bit of money. I would guess I'm about maybe £30,000, I would say, to be where I am now.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm pushing 40,000 euros. I don't know. It's around about that.
That's very decent.
I think, yeah, it's a combination of doing stuff when I could have bought it. I built it instead, but also there are certain things that I did save a lot of money on just through sheer luck. I live in Sheffield, which is known for its steelwork. The keel was very, very cheap. So
you've been helped too.
Yeah, by luck, really, by companies who just do this for a living, and so it's very cheap and easy to get hold of it. I was able to drive to the factory, pick up the keel, didn't have to pay delivery, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's. I think you've got to go to sea for the right reasons as well.
So what are your reasons?
My reasons are because I just want to see whether I can do it. I don't want to go to sea because I'm running away from it. It's a personal challenge, and it's a personal challenge supported by my family. So yeah, it seems to fit the bill.
Okay, cool. So how does it feel to be a first boat builder then?
Hey, it's good. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice, nice feeling. I like the combination of different skills you need. At woodwork, you've got some electrics, you've got some glass fibring, you've got some metalwork. So yeah, it's a variety of skills. I enjoy learning new skills, and I enjoy just the act of putting stuff together in my hand. So it's kind of very satisfying thing to build, I would say. There are elements I wouldn't want to repeat. Fairing, for example. A week of being covered in dust and sanding every day, I'm good. I don't want to do that again. But I've got
So, how many miles have you traveled by sea, sailing your own built, ocean-going racing yacht?
Not many at all. I have done, I think, just over 100.
And what was the average condition?
It was pretty bleak actually, because it was the west coast of Scotland in autumn. So it was basically wind in the face, force 5-6 for about 24 hours, and then turning downwind, and then had a bit of a break at that point. So yeah, it wasn't the nicest, but the boat feels solid. It feels there was no point where I was concerned that the boat was going to be the issue. It was always me that was going to be the issue, me not understanding what I needed to do with the boat. I learned a lot about the wind vane. That's critical, and it will be critical, I think, in the Transat, and that's probably the single biggest benefit that I got out of that first sail. Also learned that there were some minor tweaks that I needed to do, and I just the boat is not likely to be the weak point, I think, which is that's a big important step to learn. I think it gives you confidence to push harder. It gives you confidence to just relax as well, let the boat sail itself a bit.
So
that's
how many big sails have you done on other boats?
Not enough, probably. Still?
No. And how many?
How many? Mostly it's coastal sailing around the UK. So, so the conditions can be quite variable. There's the added complications of quite vicious tides in certain places, but not sufficient, I would say, to be 100% confident that I know that this is for me. But I'm confident that I'll get to Lanzarote at the moment.
So what makes you push on regardless then? Because you can drop out any day.
Yeah, because so far everything's going to plan, I feel. I mean, the boat seems solid. I'm ready, I think. And if it turns out I'm not, then I turn around and come back.
So is there a team waiting for you in Lanzarote?
No, there isn't. Unfortunately, I have very little shore support at the moment. For a variety of reasons, but mainly because my youngest son doesn't have a passport yet, and that is a administration error, and so my wife can't travel, which is a shame.
What was the biggest pleasure that you had during the build? Because everybody knows when you're building a project like this, you have high times, you have many low points. So what dragged you through the lower bits?
I think that the camaraderie of the builders group is a huge bonus. If I imagine trying to build this boat on my own without any interaction from anyone else who's doing the same thing, yes, I would have hit some very low points. The group calls, the group chat, just invaluable. Everybody seems to be going through the same problems at the same time. Everybody shares tips, everybody shares techniques and tools, which are really useful. It's a really valuable resource for anybody building the boat, and that's great because we're all building the same boat, and so you can talk about really specific issues in a very specific way about a very small aspect of the boat and get a useful answer. It's not generic. It's not an angry internet forum where people would like to show off. It's just a bunch of friends who are building boats together, which is fantastic.
But roughly estimate, in your estimate, was there the tools in it, or have you also a special add up for the tools that you have used?
I'm a bit of a tool nerd, you could say. So I already have quite a lot of tools and a well-equipped garage. So I didn't have to buy a huge amount of stuff. I bought some very specific boat building tools, like the fairing tool, for example, big flexi sander that you can sand large distances with. But other than that, they're just generic power tools that I needed at the time, or things that just wore out. You get through a lot of belt sanders, it turns out. It is possible to build in your average garage. It doesn't require a huge amount, but it does require a kind of minimum number of tools, and I'm lucky enough to have access to, if I don't own them, I have access to the tools that I needed.
So what's the name?
So the name of the boat is Origami. The boat's been made out of flat sheets of plywood, origami, paper, folding boat. There it is.
What do you think about everything that's going around now?
It's more than I expected, but then I've not done this before, so I guess it seems friendly and helpful. The atmosphere, I don't feel like it's anybody being specifically challenging. It's more just we need to make sure we're safe. We need to make sure we're sailing One Design boats, and there's got to be a minimum standard. So yeah, it does make sense. It's surprisingly large amount of work to get to this stage.
But your boat's quite specific, because I saw that you built some of your own stuff. What did you made up yourself?
So I've got the main jammers that I've got for halyards, and some of the other control lines are constrictor jammers that I've designed and had machined myself, mainly to save money, but also just because it was fun as well. And I've got the contacts to be able to get them made. So yeah.
So there is a sense of how do you say, a confidence in yourself in that way.
I think so. I've designed other items for yachts as well. So for example, continuous line furlers, that kind of things. So yeah, and use them successfully, and it seems to work. So I have some history with doing it. Let's see. Ask me that question again in Lanzarote, and I'll let you know how many survived.
When you come to Antigua, what's the plan with the boat? Are you going to sell it off? Are you going to ship it? Are you going to sail it back?
Yeah, I do have a job to go back to, actually, so I'm quite lucky in that regard. So early January I need to be back behind a desk, so that limits my options. I would love to sail it back. That would be fantastic. Maybe if there are anybody else sailing back, but I feel I'm going to run out of time. Shipping it back is probably going to be the end result, I would say, out of this.
If you would be on the same moment again, that you would send some money to some guy in China for plans, and then maybe something more for a CNC file, what would you do differently now?
I think I would allow myself more time to think about every issue that I come up against. Because the timeline's been compressed in general to get the boat finished in time for the race, that actually I made some decisions in the build which either cost me more time or they just cost me. And so I think with a bit more hindsight, I would slow down a little and say, right, realistically, what can I build myself? What do I need somebody else to make? And then what do I need to do about the certain challenges that kind of present themselves while you're building? Other than that, it's difficult to know, because I feel like I've run out of time a little to get to a state where I'm relaxed and ready to go now, which is, I feel, a mistake. I definitely should have probably worked a little harder to get to the stage where I can just relax and enjoy this part of the process, as opposed to spend my days running around trying to buy things and fix things and get things ready.
What's your private ambition? What makes you tick? Why do you go to the Atlantic Ocean in a bloody self-built boat, which you designed some critical stuff yourself too? What is it all about?
I just like sailing, and the concept of crossing the Atlantic is attractive, and doing it alone is just one more challenge. It's a really difficult question to answer. I don't really know.
So what is the biggest important stuff that you need to check before Sunday?
Right now I need to go over the rig and I need to check everything again. So I need to make sure I've got all the pins in my rigging screws. I need to make sure I've taped everything. I need to make sure I've stitched or whipped anything that needs to stay together. All the little things. It's going to be about the boat staying together now, as opposed to the admin side. So yeah, I've got to have the confidence that when I go to sleep, as the boat charges through the night, I can wake up in the morning in the same, or at least a few minutes later, in the same state. So yeah. Put a bit of lean on it. Need a bit of gas. It's difficult not to mind.
Morning.
He's getting really nervous. You better stand up, Peter, because you're
Okay.
in the lights.
Yeah, I've got to follow Misha's with the adventure stuff. It's pretty difficult, to be honest. So, Pete Kenyon. I come from the UK. Amateur boat builder, like the rest of them, I think. What would you like to know? What was the question? Because I think you asked me every time. Right?
Where did you make your billion?
I have not made any billions. Listening, Boatshed.
Sailing background.
Sailing background. Started in dinghies, Optimist, as an H5. Moved on to mirrors. How much detail do you want, Bill? So sailed dinghies. My dad's a big sailor. I kind of stopped sailing for about 15 years and got back into it maybe 10 years ago. And then me and my wife owned we bought a boat, we quit our jobs, we sailed around the UK. And then since then, just been looking for the next adventure, basically, which was this. And then there was nothing on TV, so I was like, let's buy some clothes.
Okay, so what are you looking forward to most about the Transat?
Being alone? No, I'm joking. To be perfectly frank, if I get across the Atlantic, I will feel very satisfied with myself. If I come not last, I'll feel even more satisfied. But it's mainly just the achievement of getting across. So,
What's the worst thing about your boat?
So many. I haven't got a hull number on the port side yet because it was raining today. I mean, I was trying to apply it, but yeah, there's that. I think probably the bucket. It's really uncomfortable. But if you've got any tips, let me know.
Yeah, bypass.
If it's pipe lagging, then yeah.
Okay, all right. Anyone got one question for him? A curling question?
Make it easy.
What's it like living in England?
It's just, the weather's like this all day. But it's cold, but it's really cold. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
What music are you taking with you?
A bit of an admission. So I like anything, basically anything. So it's best to have a bit of. I quite like jazz and funk. But really, it's whatever comes up on the iPod. So just leave it on shuffle. I've had it since I was like 12, so it's pretty embarrassing. So there's some stuff in there that I don't want other people to hear.
You know Spotify doesn't work out there.
Come again?
Okay. All right. Well, carry on regardless, and we'll talk again after the next course.
Looking good, Peter. Have a good one.
I will.
Should get this, take a picture, but it'll take too long, but let me get out there. 3, 2, 1, go. Hi folks, Jim here. We're at the start of the Glow 580. There's 4 starters today, 2 more to follow during the week. Look at that.
Do we keep the money? Stay there because we're going to cross with Thingo. So.
Right, woohoo! There's that start light. Well, look at it.
I was going to try your idea, John, with the orange sail.
Hey, did I give you a green card?
No.
I forgot, it's in my pocket. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
This thing to work, everything else is fine.
I know, exactly. Yeah. Remember not to have the steering lines too tight.
Yeah, need a little bit of time.
Yeah.
That is important. That really helps.
Yeah. One side down. Okay. See ya.
Welcome to Lanzarote!
Where's the finish line?
Oh, you just need to tack a bit inside, eh? Etienne will help you with the guidance for the finish line, okay? Are you happy?
Yeah, very happy. Yeah. It feels like yesterday I met. It's really weird. I'm not struck at
sleeping!
So Peter, you might have to do a couple of tracks to go really close to cross the line, okay? 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0!
Alright, Peter! Nice seeing you!
You on the podium, man?
No, now it's the worst time he wants to face it. I don't want people to help me. You can show them what the guy is doing. So I just. Das ist Michel.
I think it's just just every morning when the sun gets up, and just sitting there and there's nothing to see apart from the sea. And you're on the boat. It's great.
What's the first thing you like?
Good, yeah, really good. Really enjoyed it. It's been it's a good 5 days. So yeah.
You looked happy when you came in.
Yeah, I think you're bouncing. I think after being at sea for a bit, but no, it's a really enjoyable time. Actually, really enjoyed the sailing. So.
When you knew you were third boat in, you thought, maybe I should have done things differently. But yeah, that's only human. But tell me, what would you do differently next time?
So I think I spent quite a lot of the first half of the journey being quite timid. I think I was still learning how to sail the boat. That was my 5th sail in the boat, and so yeah, I could have probably put more sail up for a lot longer. But you know, just baby steps, learning every time. So hopefully I'll get faster and faster. Be able to keep up with the other two because they are fast. So yeah, no, it's been a learning experience, that's for sure. I think the log says something like 690, so okay. The vast majority were in the last 5 days.
Okay. So,
I've learned more about the sail plans that she's comfortable with. I've learned quite a lot about the wave action on the boat as well. So the boat is good and stable, but does tend to lose a grip a bit as you go down a wave. So it's very easy to let the boat kind of slide sideways and broach a little bit. While the wind vane does recover the boat quite quickly, it's uncomfortable while that's happening because she's lying on her side. But yeah, that's been my biggest learning actually, I think. And so for the longer leg across the Atlantic, I just need to see whether I can optimise the steering slightly and also the sail plan. Chatting to the other guys who have a lot more experience than me, it's clear I need to do some stuff differently. So yeah, I'll be trying everything on the longer legs and seeing whether I can get it more and more balanced. The rudder bolts are now fine. They're made out of actual stainless steel, but they're still very loose, so they clatter about in the pintles pretty badly. I'm gonna probably try and get some more machined here so that the tolerance is a bit finer. That's about the noisiest thing on the boat. So as you go downwind, it'll be clonk, 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 clonk as the rudder moves slightly. But other than that, it's all pretty good actually. That's maybe it's an annoying thing. It's not a structural issue, so it's more than strong enough. It's just a bit too much play in there.
Was there any unnerving stuff going on when you came down?
Yeah, so there's one slight crisis that I had was I was just doing my pre-darkness checks on the boat, just having a look around everything, just checking there was no water anywhere. And I opened up the locker hatch in the aft watertight compartment, was staring in there, and then the boat rolled towards me, and all of a sudden a lot of things floated into view that really should have been stationary. And so yeah, some water was getting in. It was definitely salt water, it's not just one of my jerry cans. And so yeah, I bucketed it all out, maybe 3 buckets of water, and then I identified the source of the leak being I've got a deck plate in the bottom of the cockpit there, and I think that was leaking. So every time a wave came into the cockpit, it would just slop in just a little bit of water, and it was just every time would go a little bit down into that aft compartment, and then it slowly filled up. But yeah, it's now that I know what it is, it's easy. It's just when you first see it, you're like.
So how many liters do you think you took on per 24 hours?
I think it must have been maybe a bucket and a half, so I don't know how many litres that is, what, like 25, 30? It wasn't huge and it was very manageable, but it's just the surprise of seeing it there just before dark as well. And I'd just cooked dinner and it was getting cold, so, you know.
How was life inside?
So I mean, it's kind of like a washing machine, but it's dry, really dry. I was surprised at how dry it was. It's not an unpleasant experience. I've got some cushions, so it's comfortable place to lie. It is a weird motion though. In those waves, they were kind of half waves on top of big waves, and so the boat was very bouncy at times. So yeah, not the most comfortable, but not super uncomfortable either. I mean, it could be a lot worse if everything's wet. It's horrible, but it was dry. So yeah, it's all good. So yeah, it's quite handy to have you guys in the rib come and kind of guide me in, and then take the tow, because there are a lot of boats out at anchor and they are relatively poorly lit against the background because it was night. It's all the lights on the land that mean you can't see the boats that are close to you. So actually, yeah, that was very helpful. I do appreciate that, because I was starting to get a bit tired by that point, but it was more the concentration and having to do it all. So yeah, no, it was good. But it's nice to come around the lighthouse. That's a hell of a feature to finish with. You see the lights sweeping across the horizon, and it's like, yeah, I've made it. So no, it was good finish.
So what are your plans for being here in Lanzarote?
Yeah, so I think most of the time will be spent just tweaking a few things on the boat. Maybe I'll take a quick flight back to the UK, but the entrance requirements and the COVID make that kind of awkward, so let's see. But mostly just preparing the boat, chilling out, making sure that everything's ready for the big one. The apples. I did bring far too many apples with me. I bought a bag of 20 apples. I think I've maybe eaten 5. So I've got a lot of apples to get through. I've still got loads of food left. I've brought far too much, even though I spilt one of my meals up against the bulkhead while we just fell off a wave, and I had to scrape it back into the bag and eat it. But no, I've got plenty of food still, so I think I need to maybe think about how much I do need to take across the Atlantic, because I don't need that much. So yeah.
Is there anything structural that you have, things that you want to look at, or just for yourself to have a double check?
I think it's all good, actually. I think I'm in a visual check of everything. I've not seen anything come loose that shouldn't be loose. I've not seen anything, that's wearing out that shouldn't be wearing out. It's all the stuff that you might expect. There are things kind of bedding in, I guess, and things like that. But there's nothing that's concerning me about the boat, that's for sure. I think the boat is the strong part. I think I'm the weak point in this particular chain.
Did you feel safe?
Yeah. It's dry. It's secure in the cockpit. It's easy to sail. Yeah, it's a great boat, actually. I've not had a huge amount of experience in small boats, but I know that this one is. Yeah, it gives you the confidence in some of those waves. It doesn't feel like it's trying to kill you all the time, which I think some other boats can.
Yeah. Let's see how things develop before you leave the 18th.
Yeah, no, looks good. Thanks, Eli.
Twice this.
Perfect.
Yeah?
That's well done. Great. Fantastic.
You have some apple juice.
That is very kind of you. Thank you very much. Literally could do anything here, but I can't decide.
So if you can't decide, it's not important.
That's true. You could look at it that way, or you could say there's definitely one way that's better than another, and I can't find it. You guys.
Keep listening on radio and I will confirm you shortly.